here in Central Florida, how we are now. This storm Ian is just wreaking havoc on our areas, especially with the flooding, calling it historic, record-breaking, and the governor referring to it as we haven't seen this kind of thing happen in 500 years.
Yeah, for the state of Florida, he was talking about that, and we want to turn our attention to our team of first warning meteorologists, and Eric Burst is going to start things off here. Eric, when we're talking about Central Florida, you said this is something that really we haven't seen in centuries.
Yeah, well, and think about it. So the amount of water that we have seen on our Doppler radar would line up to be, at least in the Orlando area, a 1 in 200 year flood event, but we're still seeing rain and are not that far from a 1 in 500 year flood event. Lakes, rivers, creeks everywhere are overflowing their banks. I mean, Lake Eola, we've seen pictures where the fountain, the majority of it, is underwater. It is a truly remarkable scenario. So many of you are experiencing a very worrisome situation where water is coming up to your home. Some of you, water is in your home. So just know this, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this together. Everybody is on the same page. Everybody's going to be working together, and we're going to get through it, all right? Here's a look at our first morning live Doppler radar, and I just want to show you the center of circulation. There's Tropical Storm Ian, basically over the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and will continue to move out, but it is turning to kind of more of a northerly direction. So all this wraparound precipitation is going to continue. Before we even get into all of that rainfall, let's just talk about the gusts that we're dealing with, okay? This is our live first warning Doppler radar, and you can very clearly see the spin there. But all of this wind is, you know, we're running into strong tropical storm force. As a matter of fact, just got a 68 mile per hour wind gust in Flagler Beach, okay? The brighter the color, the more the wind. And essentially, what we're talking about in here are winds running. Let's just sample this, okay? Let's just sample. Let's move here to the Seminole Orange County area, because that's where we're kind of sampling it the best, okay? Watch this. The brighter shades, you're looking at 50 to 60 mile per hour winds according to our Doppler radar, and that's kind of working its way down to the surface. We've seen gusts upwards of 80 something miles per hour at Daytona Beach earlier. We had a wind gust around hurricane force at the Orlando International Airport earlier. Meteorologist Kellyanne Klass and I are kind of working on graphics, gathering all this data. You can imagine there's just so much information, but let's just talk about the winds for a second, right? If it's blowing at your house, remember, as long as you're inside, you are protected from this wind. And it is going to be an unrelenting wind here in Daytona Beach for quite some time, because you can see that activity is well offshore and it is still working in, and our radar is sampling some even more intense little bands that'll be coming in around Daytona Beach, Holly Hill, and points up to the north near Ormond Beach, okay? All right, now to the rainfall situation, because we are still tracking not just flash flood warnings widespread across town, but there are 2 flash flood emergencies that are in play. The first one here, this is a flash flood emergency for the Little Wekiva River, but we're just piling on and piling on more and more rain here in Volusia County. There's a flash flood emergency in effect. Let me just zoom in so we can really get into some specifics. From about Daytona Beach through Port Orange, through Ponce Inlet, New Smyrna Beach, Edgewater, and that continues inland along the 450. I would not be traveling on the 415 right now. Around Samsula, back over toward 44 on the approach there to New Smyrna Beach, okay? That's the situation as it stands right now. That said, when do the worst winds move out of the area? That has been the question so many have been asking. Let's just briefly look at this, and then we're going to get over to Kellyanne Klass with some new information on winds. But when does the worst move out? All right, through the metro area, 5 p.m. It's going to take that long for this activity to lift out. If you're in our northern areas, and this is why we're so concerned about Volusia County, it's going to go overnight tonight through early tomorrow morning, all right? So we've got some time left still with some tropical downpours and certainly gusty winds. Just got about a 60 mile per hour wind gust reported at the Orlando International Airport. Kellyanne, you've got plenty more wind reports though.
Yeah, we're looking through a lot of that data that the National Weather Service has just come out with, and they are talking about each county. So we're going to start off with Volusia County, because I think that this is one of the most intense wind gusts that we've seen so far in this spreadsheet. It's New Smyrna Beach, wind gust of 86 miles per hour. Daytona Beach, 76 miles per hour. Ponce Inlet, 50 miles per hour. Ormond Beach.